Get that ass banned.
Your life is nothing. You serve zero purpose.
Fucking, I'll never play your whack ass again with that bullshit ass character.
What the fuck, dude?
It's insane. This is fucking insane! What I'm talking about. Body this motherfucker. It's not even about his character. This dude sucked! What the fuck is— what is that? Fucking whack ass rage arts and motherfucking Soul Calibur? Oh my god! Damn it!
Just quit for that whack fucking skin. Nigga, if you wanna play Street Fighter, take your bitch ass over and play Street Fighter. This dude doesn't even know what he's doing.
See? 100% Dragon Punch abuse and lag. He sucks. He fucking sucks shit. One of the worst fucking Super Turbo players ever online I've ever seen in my life.
Like I said, was good. God. You should kill yourself now.
LTG, or some might know him as Low Tier God, is a rather infamous, controversial, and very problematic personality on the internet. He came to start from playing the fighting game series known as Street Fighter since his early days on YouTube. But over the past years, he wasn't well known for his skills in fighting games, rather for his infamously controversial past, present, and, let's face it, future. lowtiergod is infamously known in the FGC as a rage quitter and a trash talker. For the most part, that was his whole personality, till it went too far and became a problem real quick. To say that LTG is hated in the FGC would be a bit of an understatement. LTG has firmly established himself as the villain of the FGC community, often being problematic online with other players.
God, come on, man. Y'all gonna say this nigga's better than me? Come on, bro. This nigga's a fraud. I remember I couldn't pull a stock off of this nigga. This dude put off the most luckiest bullshit ever. Y'all, this nigga's not better than me. I ain't even worried about it.
But even outside the fighting game community, LTG's been crowned a villain by having fake DMCA strikes, copyright claims, and even doxing, and even sending death threats to content creators who make videos on his history on the internet via emails. Even though these videos are in fair use, he does this as a more of a scaring tactic than actually wanting to physically hurt anyone. As the saying goes, his bark is worse than his bite.
You said I'm garbage. You're crazy. Get that ass banned.
Oh, I better be careful now. I don't want no fake DMCA to be on this video. So with this video, I wanted to deep dive into the ever infamous mind of Dalawan Sparrow, otherwise known as LTG. Also, you can't copyright this video just because I said your real name, because apparently you did that to another content creator. Your name is out there publicly, pal. I also want to make this clear. This video is not to complete ridicule, slander, and everything above. I know lowtiergod is a terrible person, but this video is primarily for entertainment purposes only. Everything shown from his real name to his private emails being sent to harass and the persecution of content creators like myself making videos on his person are in fair use since he himself has put them out there. So any attempts to take this video down may end up in a frugal attempt. So sit back, relax, and watch me ramble on and use big words for about 10 to 20 minutes. Lowtiergod started his career on YouTube back in January 20th, 2006. Throughout his career, he has managed to amass over 60,000 subscribers and 8 million views on his channel. Now, these numbers aren't something to scoff at, mind you, but these views aren't for positive things like petting puppies or adopting stray animals, but rather for more dubious means. Of course, one might say he ended up this way because of trolls on the internet. And to that I say, well, you're kinda right. But lowtiergod was always on the path of infamy since day one, and is still on that path even to this day, with a recent event of harassment against June the King. These events are somewhat scary to me, and not only because of how easy and simple it is to manipulate the copyright system on YouTube, but because of the information that is required to dispute claims and copyright strikes. To dispute claims or DMCAs, you need to give the opposing party or the opposing side your personal information. Definitely a smart choice and won't get people swatted or anything. Thanks, YouTube! But see, here's the thing. Remember that fair use thing I was talking about? Yeah, June the King's video falls under that. His video technically should be safe and should be perfectly within the DMCA clause. Too bad the copyright system on YouTube is so easily abused and utter shit. I know what you might be thinking to yourself, but Noble, obviously he copyrighted June because he was a big creator. No. See, lowtiergod doesn't care if you have 400 subscribers or even 1 million subs. He'll find a way to get you. Then again, he seems to be flying under the radar of most big YouTubers and is pretty much being a menace to those he somewhat has a reach on. I've talked about it before, but YouTube's copyright system is extremely flawed, but it's not like I, or anyone else for that matter, has the power to change it. LTG has been known to take down pretty much everything about him that explains him in a negative light. Doing research for this video was pretty difficult because of the lack of information on lowtiergod. But alas, here we are. Most of the information I'm going off is obviously of myself, but is also of the Know Your Meme website and a handful of YouTube videos like June the King's and Tipsters. If the lack of information isn't a clear view sign of him abusing the system, I don't know what is. Of course, I'm not gonna say anything that hasn't already been said about lowtiergod. In all honesty, it's pretty hard to say anything positive about this guy in general. LTG is like a ball of hate, but with a bow on top. A lot of his time on the internet has been spent making fun of creators, harassing them, and doxing them when they decide to step up and expose him, or even make a documentary on him. I know people have compared LTG to DSP, but in all honesty, I think that there are a lot of differences between these two. With DSP, there is a sense of comedy there. Commentators making videos on DSP and his content are able to have fun and are able to shed creativity talking about him as a person. With LTG, creators aren't necessarily scared of him, but of a system and a law above them. A system that can be easily manipulated and used to garner private information on an individual. It's fucked up, but it's not like YouTube can do anything about that. Another difference between them is the fact that DSP has money problems. And I guess LTG does also? I mean, that's not really a difference, it's more of a comparison. It's confusing, but I've heard from people that LTG might be suffering financially. Now, these are all speculations, so take it with a grain of salt, but I don't want to rule out that he might be financially unstable just yet, seeing as though he has requirements for his stream. Requirements like $20 must be made within the hour of streaming or the stream will end. Yeah, definitely not struggling and definitely not taking advantage of your audience. Aside from the money begging, I guess you can compare the way he talks as well. It's very similar to DSP in a numerous amounts of ways. When they name call people, they both mash together two words that have no coagulation with each other to make an insult. They're both very pathetic and will lash out at anyone giving them criticisms and even slightly negative comments. Man, I can't wait to see what the fuck this video is gonna turn into if he ever comments on it. DSP will most likely do nothing if you do harass him because he's a potato-couched goblin, but LTG on the other hand would initiate one of the deadliest moves known to man. Get that ass banned. This move is one that LTG uses almost exclusively on the haters and people who disagree with his opinions. A lot of the time, he will do it on stream. What's that? You dare question his ability to dodge a wake-up Shoryu with his face? In chat? Get that ass banned, boy. Get that ass banned. Black DSP. If you've been on the internet for as long as I have, you might know what Black DSP means, if it's not obvious already. LTG has been a profound salt mine in the fighting game community. When you go onto his YouTube and search his name, you'll find a myriad of compilations of his salty moments online while playing games. It's almost exclusively just salt compilations. Or you'll find this particular footage of LTG facing off against Viscant. This clip, this one clip, is one of the most recognizable and most memorable clips in the FGC, aside from Evo moment number 37, of course. But no matter who you talk to that has a base knowledge on the fighting game community will immediately recognize this clip of Viscant calling out LTG in a Street Fighter IV match, LTG rolling up like the massive unit he is, while simultaneously making Viscant's face look like he just shat his pants and saw God for the first time in his life. Then immediately gets his ass blown by Viscant in Street Fighter IV. This one clip would go on to be a legend in the Hall of Shame in the FGC, reminding players to be humble and try not to count their chickens before the first round. It would go on to be used in clips such as Crobcat's The Brilliant Fighting Game Community video and June the King's documentary on LTG. He then later lost against Viscant a bunch of times in the future, but we're not going to talk about that because, wow, holy fuck, he loses a lot. Combined, these videos have garnered a combined total of 6.5 million views since the time of this recording, which means this specific clip of LTG has been viewed at least 6 million times by the internet. This isn't really the only time LTG has eaten his words and has been made a fool on the internet when it comes to losing a match in game. An example of this is LTG being eliminated by Rob TV on national television.
Good for Rob TV, and you can see him, he got the tongue out Michael Jordan style right now.
To eliminate low tier god, the light kick, and he'll do it.
Oh, and the walk up low. Rob TV eliminates low tier god.
I'm just not prepared for this at all.
Another example is LTG versus Fudor. You scroll down into the comment section and you can see just people dogging on LTG with his signature back to the main menu quit combo. The reason why people are making fun of this is because LTG does this quite frequently actually. It's sort of like a you didn't win strategy in fighting games. The angrier he gets, the more salt he exudes. LTG is just a perpetual mine of salt and bitterness, but in an entertaining way. I could watch hours of matches between him and better players beating him the fuck up. But not all of his matches are, how do you say, family friendly. I guess you could say that about LTG in general, that not a lot of this guy is family friendly, but you know, I'm gonna ignore that part. There have been some controversies and some drama surrounding him using very colorful language on people of differing races, genders, and even disabilities. Two of the most famous ones are between Broly Legs and Cyroblast. Broly Legs is a well-respected pro Street Fighter player who is physically handicapped and plays Street Fighter with his mouth, which is so fucking impressive. Like, I just see footage of him playing Street Fighter with his mouth and then seeing the screen of his character moving, and I cannot tell you, I can't tell him apart just like playing normally. It's so good. He's so fucking good, dude. LTG, being the Sigma male he is, decided to talk shit about Broly drooling all over his controller, and this garnered him a ton, and I mean a ton, of controversy, giving him essentially the Berserk brand and made him a target for the entire internet. Rightfully so. He would call Broly Legs names like Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or even calling him a specimen, which I just, it's very offensive to someone like Broly Legs, and I can't believe he said that and expects to still have a career. Overall, you can see why LTG is hated and infamous in the FGC community. But drama aside, let's take a deep dive into his playstyle now, shall we? Most of the information I'll be using for this part comes from a video called Street Fighter V How to Deal with Low Tier God's Playstyle. This video is made by Sonic Sol, and despite the video being almost more than 5 years old, it is still relevant to his current playstyle today. It just goes to show Low Tier God hasn't improved as a player and as a person in quite some time. Rage quitting aside, LTG has this thing of giving up when he gets too mad. He blames a lot of his mistakes on excuses, and even when he's winning, he calls the opponent's names and just is a pretty bad sport altogether. It's a lose-lose situation with LTG. But let's look at the characters he's played in Street Fighter V now, shall we? Now, despite his name being lowtiergod, pointing to him playing low tier characters, he rarely plays characters that are low tier. In SF5, I've mainly seen him use Urien, who is S tier, according to the site. But by his logic, by the low tier god logic, he should be playing someone like Blanca or Alex. I will give him the benefit of the doubt though, and I will give him credit. He does play other low tier characters like Falk, Gil, or even Dan, but for a majority of his time in Street Fighter V, he's played as Urien. Thank God he doesn't play Jury. That would have made me actually hate Jury if he did, and I'm not ready for that commitment yet. But Low Tier God by no means is a bad player. Quite the opposite actually. If you mute the streams where he plays Street Fighter V, you can see him think about what he was gonna do next. His problem is his temper. He's quick to rage and quick to find excuses to blame on the opponent. If you compare his playstyle to someone like Maximilian, you can see the stark contrast between them. Max is quiet, methodical, and knows what he's gonna do next. His moves aren't big or flashy. He does moves he knows are gonna hit. Well, not all the time, but not everyone's perfect if you know what I mean. He has fun, jokes around, and laughs with his chat. And above all else, he respects the other player. Although I will admit I do enjoy it when Max dunks on idiots who have a big mouth on fighting games. I just love this Max versus Neto Tiger clip. That's my fucking favorite. I watch it almost every day. It's like religion. But back to Low Tier God. Low Tier God's playstyle is... it's weird to say the least. I will admit that his playstyle needs work, but in no way is it bad. It's his temper and his mind beating himself up. Hence one of the longest running meme related to LTG. Mentally untouchable. A meme that stems from the early days of his YouTube where he would call himself mentally untouchable. Meaning he isn't fazed by anything or what anyone would say. Except he is fazed by it a lot actually. I don't know if you saw the intro, but he's fazed by a lot of things. He's not mentally untouchable. If you want more info about lowtiergod's playstyle, I'd recommend watching the video by Sonic Soul. It goes in deep with with what LTG can do right and what he can do better. But be warned though, it's really FGC lingo heavy. So if you don't know any lingo, you're gonna have a difficult time figuring out what he's talking about. But nonetheless, it's interesting to watch and understand his playstyle. Low tier god is the literal definition of salt. In all respects, with all due respect, I think LTG just needs to lay off fighting games and start playing other games and reach out more to different endeavors. I feel like he can still clean up his name and make something of himself, but it's going to be very, very, very difficult. Regarding all of the bad shit that he has done over the years, I see it being very, very difficult for him to clean up his name and clean up his act that's being dragged through the mud by himself. But yeah, that's it for LTG. He's still on YouTube and is making content. Yes, you heard me, content. I was surprised when I saw his channel having uploads that isn't fighting game related. Obviously, most of these videos are something. And obviously, these are false faces that he would put on in order to garner a more positive outlook from people who don't know who he is or don't know his history. In a way, he's trying to clean up his image, but doing it in an infamous way. On his YouTube channel, he makes it look like he's like this family-friendly dude. I mean, not all the time, but on the other hand, he's like this super toxic guy. So it's kind of like a two-faced situation. In a way, he's trying to clean up his image, but is doing it in a infamous way. See what I did there? Title drop, motherfucker. But anyway, that's my LTG video. A legend of the infamous kind. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and I will see you all next time. Bye!